The Long View, February 2nd, 2075. A Midwinter World Report. Good evening. From the Northern Hemisphere, where midwinter slows the world and sharpens attention, this is The Long View. I'm glad you're here. Across much of the world tonight, February is being observed, much as it was centuries ago, as a time of clearing, a pause, a necessary stillness before renewal. It's fitting, then, that many of today's developments speak less to expansion than to healing. Tonight also marks 25 years since the launch of the Great Realignment, the framework that reshaped how societies share responsibility for long-term well-being. Many of today's institutions trace their reforms back to what are now called the dangerous years, a period when courts were tested, truth was bent by ideology, and violence edged closer to communities once thought immune. There were no major ceremonies today. Officials described the system simply as civic infrastructure, maintained, revised, and relied upon, much like clean water or public health. What began as a cautious experiment, linking global financial markets to long-term human and ecological goals, helped set the stage for the world we live in today. Skepticism was widespread, but after years marked by political violence, social turmoil, and accelerating climate destruction, many believed there was little alternative. Earlier today, programs operating under standards set by the Pachamama Council reported continued progress in the recovery of rare earth materials, now sourced primarily from legacy electronic waste already in circulation. Working in cooperation with regional universities, a third generation of highly skilled harvesters safely reclaims these materials, significantly reducing the need for new extraction while addressing the impacts of past practices. Regarding last week's seismic activity along the Pacific Rim and Andean regions, early signals were received well in advance, allowing communities to respond calmly and without disruption. Officials trace much of this progress to the 2038 El Encuentro del Sentir Compartido gathering, held after years of catastrophic loss, when indigenous elders and scientists agreed to listen to each other with greater respect, and to the environment with real urgency. Long-observed animal movements and periods of stillness are now read alongside modern sensing systems. In cultural news, interspecies performances titled Escucha del Agua unfolded throughout the day in the submerged and detoxified downtown of Miami, appearing at several former street and plaza sites. Human swimmers and dancers moved in responsive choreography by Lena Cortez with dolphins, seals, dogs, and rehabilitated sea turtles. Guided by breath, sound, and shared attention, capable audience members are invited into the water. One story often shared at this time of year is that of a young girl who, decades ago, survived alone in the mountains after a winter plane crash. That 9-year-old girl was Anahid Sarkissian. Today, at the age of 109, Anahid Sarkissian died peacefully, surrounded by family. Having lost both parents in the crash, Sarkissian was the sole survivor. Search crews never located the other passengers in the remote mountain region. After several days, the effort was suspended. Sarkissian was found alive nearly a month later.
Her name is Anahid Sarkissian. The name of her best-selling book is Crash Course: Everything I Learned About Life, Death, and Lunch at 9 years old.
When asked in later years how she survived, she did not speak of fear or endurance. She spoke instead of listening, of animals that remained nearby, and of an inner guidance she could not fully explain. She said she learned early that survival was simply about paying attention. In later years, as researchers began documenting the return of intuitive, non-linguistic perception, Sarkissian became a point of reference as a reminder that attention and empathy were once common human skills. Anahid Sarkissian leaves behind children, grandchildren, and generations shaped by a single lesson she lived quietly. Pay attention. Something is always speaking, even the trees. We honor her again. As this evening we include another scheduled direct sense broadcast window, short periods for receiving public information through non-linguistic means rather than spoken or written language. Simply pause. From all of us here, Thank you for your attention, by ear, by eye, and by direct sense. This has been The Long View.